Good evening. This is Robert Perry from Portsmouth, Rhode Island. I usually get on the internet on a nightly basis or daily basis because I want to replace Jack Reed as a senator for the state of Rhode Island. I live right here in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. But tonight I was reminded of why it is that I started on this rather uphill battle to become a senator. A gentleman by the name of David Coombs, a lawyer, just took up residence, or just began teaching at Roger Williams College, which is right across the bridge right near my home. And so it brought back to mind why it is that I'm doing this, why it is that I want to be a senator. It's because of a couple of things. One is the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. I learned about it from another great lawyer who's a friend of Mr. Coombs, a lawyer by the name of Tor Eklund, who defended the PayPal 14, or and also Weave, two people who were prosecuted under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Now, what the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act does is it makes it illegal every time that you click on the terms and conditions of a website and you don't follow those terms and conditions, you can go to jail. That's right, you can go to jail for 35 years, which means that all your children who had something to say over the last 20 years while we were fighting all these wars and wasting all this money and destroying the environment, if they spoke up, if your children were foolish enough to think they had First Amendment rights to speak up on the internet and raise money and maybe do some kind of a small, tricky little computer protest, doing no harm, stealing no money, they could have a 35-year jail sentence. So the reason I want to be in the Senate is because I want to get rid of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Now, since then, Jack Reed, the same senator who I want to replace, put into the National Defense Authorization Act a clause that allows the president to indefinitely detain anyone, anywhere in the world, not give them a trial, not give them a lawyer, not tell their family or their friends or their children or their wife where they are, and hold them forever. It's wrong, Jack. You made a mistake. So, anyhow, my inspiration was the moment when I found out about the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Since then, the National Defense Authorization Act included the clause that indefinitely detains anyone on the president's say-so. Those are just a couple of reasons that make the NSA spying so scary. Because not only can we not have conversations without being listened to, and I don't believe that people have the same conversations when they're being listened to by the government if they felt as though they were free. I think these are different conversations that we're having. Not me, I'll say anything, but other people. I think people are holding back their opinions or not giving their opinions because they believe the NSA is listening. And guess what? The NSA is listening. And that's another mistake that Jack Reed made. He signed the Patriot Act 2. Never mind that the Patriot Act 1 was a big enough mistake. They signed the Patriot Act 2 to cover their ass on the first Patriot Act. Look, my problem with Jack Reed is his connection to the military-industrial complex, what I personally call the military-industrial mafia. We need to get rid of them before they get rid of all of our rights. So far, the Fourth Amendment has fallen. All of those out there who are concerned about the Second Amendment understand that the First Amendment is now only given to us because they feel like it. They've already written laws where they can erase the First Amendment. Behind closed doors, they have clauses in the laws they've already written where they can erase the First Amendment. So that the First and the Fourth, you can soon forget about the Second and the rest of the Constitution if we don't focus on the basic principles of our democracy. That is the freedom of speech, that is liberty, that is a right to a trial, that is a right to privacy. Jack Reed, you've made a big mistake here. Indefinite detention was a big mistake. It's time for you to go.